Hi, my name is Jimmy. I've been working with data for more than a decade as an economist, a researcher, as a data analyst, and as a consultant. In this video today, I'll be teaching you how you can construct a dynamic and interactive dashboard using Excel. I have to prepare you before we go into the video that this will be a long video today, but trust me, at the end of the video, you will be very happy that you watched it. Basically, what we'll be looking at is how you can construct interactive dashboard that can project you as an expert in data analysis. If you're interested in reproducing the project in this video, just go straight to the link below in the description to get a data set. Without further delay, let's go straight to the video. I'm happy to show you exactly where we're going to end the project in this video. From the dashboard here, of course, note that this is strictly a highly interactive dashboard. Of course, by the time I start showing you how interactive it is, you're going to see here you have the timeline here, and as you move to the timeline, you see how the effect will be shown on the dashboard. We have two slicers here, one for region, the other one for payment method. We have two cards here. We have this bar chart here. Here you have the total revenue. It's a line chart. Here we have the top 5 product items sold and the company across all the regions. Here you have the total revenue in pie charts, and here the pie chart also for total units sold. This is basically the dashboard. Let's see how interactive it is. If we click Europe here, you see what happened. You see that it's interacting. This is what happens in Europe. Let's see what happens in North America. You see what happened in North America. Let's look at debit card finally. This is used in Asia. Yeah. So, and that is exactly how interactive the dashboard is. I think you can say that this is amazing, and it's interesting as we move through the dashboard. One thing again that I want you to know, and I want to show you while we do this, is while you work on a project, it's not enough just to put all these things, all this beautiful chart and all these technical abilities. It's not enough to do that. As you work on project, you work on project based on some certain questions that you want to answer in your research. So that's exactly what we have done. Basically, I want you to know that we use exploratory data analysis to answer key research questions in this project. And the questions are as follows. All these questions are what informed what our dashboard is going to look like. So I want you to take note of this, that it is important for you to know exactly what is driving what you're doing. It's not just to displaying your technical abilities. You have to make sure that you're channeling all you're doing to answer specific research questions. So that's exactly what we have done in this research. I will be answering these questions as we go through the project. Let's run through our data set and see what we've got. In our data set, row 1 is the title of all the columns in our data set. And as you see this is a clean data set that's gone through data cleaning processes. If you are willing to see how to do some data cleaning, you can watch some of my previous videos. I have a series of videos that explains how to go through data cleaning processes. Now let's go straight to the data. The first thing to do is to convert your data set to table, and to do that, you just press Ctrl T on your keyboard. Excel will show you the range of the table. Don't forget to click this. My table has headers. The first row is the header of the table. So just click OK after highlighting that. So you see that your data has been converted to table. One thing I also like to do is to see what is my data point. To do that, I will just show you the shortcut. Just press Ctrl plus Shift plus T. It takes you to the end of the data set and it shows you the number of data points. And here you see total here at the end of the data set, and you have 240 data points. So we'll be using 240 data points in this project. This is what that means. So let's start answering our research questions one after the other. The first question, don't forget, is what is the total revenue and total units of product items sold? What we do here is to address that with CAD, like in normal Power BI. You can see on the visualizations panel here that you have CAD here. So easily you can click CAD, then you come to the data panel here, you extend it, then you see all your data here. This is the same data we're using. So I will just click the total revenue. I'll highlight the total revenue here, and you see that it populated straight here. This is the report view of Power BI. You can see that in the report view, it has populated the total revenue for this project. We want to do exactly the same thing that Power BI would do with just a click in Excel. Going back to Excel, what we do here is first we have to construct our pivot table. To do your pivot table, Control Shift down, and it takes you to the end of the data set. Come to insert up here, then you see pivot table to the top left hand corner. Click pivot table. You see that select a table of range. Excel has populated automatically the table you want to work with. Then it's always good you click new worksheet. If you click existing worksheet, it's going to make the pivot table to be on the right hand side of your data this way, but it's always good to have a new sheet to work on each of the questions. So also you can see here that choose whether you want to analyze multiple tables. If your tables are 2 or 3 or 4 and you want to analyze them together, then you click this. But because we're using just one table, we won't highlight this. So next thing we click OK. So when we click OK, we'll see that we have our pivot tables here. So let's also rename this sheet as total revenue. Okay, that's what you want to work with. The sheet 1 here, let's just name this as data, the data we're using. Okay, so now from first pivot sheet that we have here, which is total revenue, and what our interest is to see what is total revenue, like having the card in Power BI. This is pivot sheet given by Excel. You'll see the data we populated on this left hand side of the sheet, and on the right hand side of the computer here you see the pivot table fields. This pivot table fields shows all the columns in your data set. Okay, and here the below part shows the columns, values, rows, where you drag all your columns depending on what your analysis is. So what we want to do now is answer the question, what is the total revenue? So we just scroll down, look at total revenue. This is total revenue here. Drag it down into values here. When you drag into values, you see the sum of total revenue. This is exactly what the total revenue is across all the regions. So what we want to do now is to get a kind of card that we can find in Power BI. The next thing to do is come straight to pivot table analyze here. So pick pivot chart. Then you see column here. It helps to do what you want to do very easily. Just click OK. Take this up a little bit. Okay. Don't forget you want to adopt this to give equivalent to the card in Power BI. So you first take this, hide this. Hide all fields button on chart. Delete this total here. take it out. So this total here, I'll bring it down to give the title of what this card is. So I'm going to change this chart to change chart type here on the left hand panel, change to pie chart. Now click OK. This is what we have when we try to manipulate the charts around. So come to the design here, just select this as a design. Okay, don't forget to delete this total here. Okay, then the next thing here is to go to the left hand panel here, add chart element. Let's click center, and that populates exactly what the value of the sum of total revenue is. Drag it to the middle, increase the font, come to home. Then from home, you increase the font. Don't mind, just increase it to what size you think you are okay with. So extend this to accommodate what the font size. So drag this to the middle. Once you drag this to the middle, you observe that the rectangle here has covered the pie chart. Click the inner part you find on the right hand side here, format data labels. So the next thing is, first you click solid fill, find out that that's covered the pie chart there, and what you do is make sure that the border also have no line, so that everything will flow in and the color will be the same as the background color. So what you do is click the background. We want to change this color, so we're going to do some formatting. We change the color to black here. If you're okay with that, you see that everything is of the same color. Change this to sum of total revenue. We have the title. Drag this to the middle, drag it up here. Yes, so you can reduce the whole of this. You may want to format this to have currency symbol. You're back to the pivot table fields. Come to the values where you have the sum of total revenue. Click the drop down, and then come to value field settings. Click that. Then you come to number format, currency. Then the currency, you change the sign. If you're okay with pounds, if that's what you want to use, then if your project is about pounds, you put the pounds. If it is about dollar, then you bring it down to dollar. But this project is dollar, that is English, United States. You click it, you click OK, you click OK again, you find out that you have the dollar here. You can reduce the font a little bit. This is amazing. So we have successfully created the card for sum of total revenue. So we moved on to the next sheet. From total revenue, you can create another pivot sheet directly by just holding down total revenue sheet here, then press Ctrl, and immediately you see the plus sign on the copy icon. So just drop it next to the sheet. You find total revenue 2 here. We're going to rename this sum of units, total units. Sum of total units. Going back to our pivot table fields here, then what we want to work on now is total unit. We just drop down total unit here. We see unit sold here. That's what we work on. But before we do that, we return this sum of total revenue back to this field here, and then drag the unit sold, drag it to values. You'll find out that we have a pivot table, and you have the pie chart that you want to manipulate to get a card here. So the good thing about this, for copying this down to another pivot sheet, the good thing is that it retains the design. We just do some manipulation. If not, we'll have started from the beginning again. So what we do here is we move to home again, increase the font size. We increase the font size, then we extend this to accommodate what we've increased it to. So we are fine with what we have now. What we do next is take out this pivot chart fields. So what we need is the format data label. So first thing we do is we come here at the fill and line. Here, the icon, click the icon of fill and line. We click the solid fill. As you have it here, the border. Don't forget, make sure you click no line. We have perfect card. This is what we can achieve. I hope you're really enjoying all these amazing features that we can use in Excel to get perfect design for our interactive dashboards. So I'll be moving to the second question. Don't forget that first question has to do with two things. It has to do with the sum of the total revenue and sum of the total unit. So we'll change the title here to sum of total unit. So you change this to unit. So let's go to the next question, which is what is the general revenue slash sales trend? Always good to use line graph to answer questions that has to do with trend. So we are going to create another sheet here for a pivot table to answer that question. Another sheet now, let's title this total revenue. So the next thing is we're going to uh, drag down the variables of interest to answer that question. And the first variable of interest is, before that, let's return this and drag in here the date to rows. And you find the date here from January to August. The next thing, we drag in the product category because we have several categories of a product, and drag in the total revenue. Okay, data, that is what you have here. You have the total revenue across different product category with their date. So what to do next is to delete the grand total here, and we go to design, look at grand total here, off for rows and columns. Take that off, then subtotal, do the same for subtotal. So what to do next is just to draw a line graph through different ways. You can go through pivot table analyze, pivot chart, then you can also come to insert here, then click this line, you come to charts, click line, chart 2D, line here, you click it, you get the same thing if you do it both ways. So the next thing to do now is to format these charts, and what to do is first I like to take off all the field buttons. You click that, you take it off. Then let's fill this with solid fill. Yeah. So as we see this, we can easily walk through this by clicking the design button. Let's go with this. Come down here, have a different color, which is this, like this. Then this, if you observe, you see that the chart, the line changed. So we go back to change chart type, then you pick this again, you format it back to what you have initially. Next thing we need to do is to format the axis of a chart here, and that is, you come to design here, add chart element, axis titles, primary vertical. We're going to change that to USD, add chart title above charts here, and that's total revenue product category. We take this to the bottom, format legend, bottom. That is what we've got. This is looking nice. So what to do now is to bring in our timeline and also the two slicers. Yeah, so we easily go to pivot chart analyze. You see insert timeline, click insert timeline, date, okay, then you add that. This is nice. So you can See, let's walk through the timeline. You see different things, how it's going to change as we walk through different dates. Let's see from January to April, you see that? Let's see from February to May to June, you see that? Let's also bring in the slicers. Insert slicer, we are using two slicers. One, the region, and the second one, which is the payment method. Okay, bring the two in. You see, we have the two slicers here, and if we also click on the slicers, you see what happens to the chart here. This is cool. So what you need to do next is just to format the timeline and the two slicers. First, let me zoom in to see a broader view of the work page. Yes, now we have this. So click the timer first. Get to timeline tab. Click the down arrow, then new timeline style. You can name it what you want. We'll name it dark timeline. Okay, so the wall, we start from the wall timeline to do our formatting. Font, what we calibrate body, regular, let's do 11. Yeah, and the border, you can leave it, but this fill to be the color we've been using. Uh, so now then we'll see the preview of how it's going to look like. This is looking like what we have in a final project. So let's go straight to the next, which is header format. If you format that, the header, the font, calibrate body, let's do bold because it's the first header. Then let's go with 10 or 11, fine. Then the color here of the font to be white. Okay, so you don't want to fill it and no border. So click OK. You see that it reflects at the top left hand corner here. So let's go to the next selected label. Selected label. Let's do calibrate body to bold. Selected body. Let's pick 10 for that. Then also the font to be white. Okay. The next one, time level. We'll do the same font. Calibrate bold. Bold. Go for 10 to in this white. Prayer labels. One, the font is going to be body bold, and let's pick 9 now because it's like a second level heading. So period labels 2, you can do the same. Yeah, let's just see how it look like. White 2. Then the selected time block. Let's do that to be. Let's do the filling to be gray, a little bit darker. So and the border, we want to let's make it automatic the way it is. The time block is going to remain white. Okay, so let's see how that looks like. This is what timeline will be looking like. Let's click OK, and we have the format here been included in the format styles that you have for timeline. Okay, so now we just click our timeline and we click that style, the format of our timeline. First, let's see what our slicer look like in our project. It says it's formatted into 3 columns, as we see it here and here. So we do the same here. So let us come here, slicer. You see columns here. So take this to 3 columns, you'll see that the columns has been changed to 3. Let's take this up, then we have to extend this to accommodate that. Okay, let's do that a little bit more. Okay, so the formatting styles, we can new slicer. The same thing we did to the timeline, we're going to do it here. We'll slicer here, you format it. The font could be bold. Let's do the same thing here. Okay, regular. This that's 11. Automatic fill. The fill is a color. This is some color here, but let's leave that automatic. Okay. Okay, and see this is how our slicer will be looking. Let's name this dark slicer. Okay, and that is let's go to the header. The header will format the header to font is clear body bold 11, and the header will be of course white color because of the background is dark. Click OK. See how it's going to look like. See it's changing gradually. Selected items with data. Selected items with data. When we select items with data, we want it to be the same. This time border. We want it to have border. Let's make the border this color. Let's make the fill to be, because if it is selected, let's make the fill this yes. Okay, for the selected one. For the selected item with no data. Selected item with no data, possibly we do the same thing. Yeah, as we have it earlier. Okay, the color is still white. Yes, borders. Want to put borders now. The fill is still the same. Then the selected item, unselected item, that will be white as we have it with the timeline. The fill will be white. We are 10. So have it unselected item with no data. Let's just do the same and just see how it's going to look based on what we have in a project. Just going to do the fill to do that because it's unselected one. Okay, let's click OK and see how that look like. This is the format here. So if you click it, you click the format here, this is exactly what we have to look exactly like what we have in a final project. Don't forget the selected items in our project. When you format it, the fill of the selected item, they are normal color, then the border is black. Okay, just leave it like that, black. That's the border, then the font is white. Then the selected item is the same thing. The border is black. Okay, the other is black. The fill is a color. Okay, then the font is white. Sure, that's correct. Then let's move to the unselected item. The unselected item, the font is white and the same as we have it before. The outline is black. We have black outline. A black outline, then the fill is a color. Okay, then the unselected, then the border is also black. So we have it. The fill is a color. So we have it. So okay. Just click OK. Yes, exactly. In our project, also have it here. Perfect. So we just format that for the other slicer too, so you can bring them together. So we have that in our project, and see what next we have to do. We've done the timeline, we've done the two slicers, we've completed the cards. Then now let's do the bar chart here, total units sold. So let's call this total units sold. Total unit sold. Get the pivot table here. Show field list. The pivot table is here. The date is here as we found it, that we have the product category here. Then they think the next thing is to change this to total units sold. Let's bring in units sold to values, to pivot table analyze tab. Click the pivot chart. Then here we click the bar charts. This is a bar chart here, and this is how it's gonna look like here. So click OK. Up here, don't forget we hide all field buttons. Double click it. Then you have the format chart area here, the chart options, the text options are here. Here we put the solid field here and format. Let's click this. Total unit sold. Product category. Product category. Yes. Come to axis here. Axis titles. Come to the primary horizontal. That is where the axis will be here, and that is units. Bring this down. The format will bring this bottom at the bottom of the chart here. So you can extend this a bit. So we have completed that. Next, let's drop down the new sheet here, and let's title this top 5. Okay, top 5. Let's delete this. To sure, then let's bring back the pivot table feeds. Let's return all this back to the top panel. Okay, so the next thing to do is to bring down the product name to the row. You see Excel has populated all the product names, so many of them, so many. Drop down the total revenue here. So the next thing we do is to come down here. You see value filter. We come down to top 10. Say top 10, and our interest is to have top 5. If you want top 10, you can leave it as top 10 and by sum of total revenue. So okay, from here the next thing is to bring in a pivot chart through the pivot table analyze. Click the pivot chart here. We go to bar charts. This is bar chart. Then we click OK. So this is what we are. We are going to do the same formatting we've been doing to all the other charts by first hiding all feed buttons. Yeah, then let's take this out, delete this total. Yeah, let's fill this. Let's double click this. Double click this. We have the format chart area. Just take the solid fill. You have what the solid fill is. Our color is this. So sure, okay. Let's take that, then we can look at the design. Let's click this to have exactly what our design has been looking like. So the charts element here, let's add the data label. Let's add the data label at the outer end here. Okay, and let's go again to the pivot table to add $sign to this show field list. Then we'll come down here with a value field settings, number format, currency. Then we click $sign here, yes English, and click OK. Then we have $sign. So there we can format this axis here. I format it with number here, and that's the decimals is 0. Click out the $sign there. Let's put none here. See that after we remove that, we just label our charts here. We come to design, add element, chart element. We'll label the axis, title axis, and the axis we're labeling is the horizontal one, and that's USD. Yeah, so you have USD here. Then we change the title here to top 5 products. So this is exactly how the top 5 product chart looks like in a project. And the next thing to do now is to format this to sort it from the highest to the lowest. And straight we go to the funnel here, we click it, more sort options. It is ending by A to Z by sum of revenue. We click by sum of revenue, then we click OK. You'll say that it has been sorted correctly. So that is the end of this chart. Now that we have done so many charts, we're left with 2 pie charts according to our project here. We've done all others. We're left with these 2 pie charts, and that's what we'll do very fast. Now we are very close to the end of the video. I want to thank you for still being there, and I hope you like it. So let's move straight to the next thing on the list. Now let's copy another sheet, name this sheet _revenue. Let's delete this. Just take away this format shape. Click this here. Bring about the pivot table fields. And here we'll be working with a score, of course, working with the same sum of total revenue. But here we are not going to use the product name. This time we use product category. Okay. And construct the pie charts. Come to pivot table analyze tab. Click pivot chart. Then you come here pie chart. The pie chart we have in our project is a 3D pie chart. So we come here. 3D pie, you see, you click it, that's exactly what we'll be working with. As usual, you hide all the field buttons. Let's double click this. We have the format chart area. We want to make this to be our design, which is the usual dark color. But again, let's come to design to pick what we've been using. You see it, that's exactly what the pattern is. And I want you to know here that it is possible for you to format this background here to whatever color you want. You may want a different in a unique color. You can do that, but of course, if you want to know how to do that, you can put in a comment. Then I will be happy to do that in the next video. Okay, let's come back to our video, our pie chart. The next thing to do here, this total here is total revenue, new product category. I come to add chart elements, data labels. This label can be N, but it's better let's have bed fit. because of all this tiny section of the pie chart. So we have the best fit there. We want also to include the percentage contribution of each of the sections. Just click anyone. Okay, so we get to the label options here. Click this here, label options here. What we want to include is percentage. Click percentage here. You observe that it has included the percentage, but the separator here is comma, which you want to change. You change the separator here to new line. You can see that that has brought the percentage to a new line, which is making it looking more beautiful. Let's try as much as possible to fill this so that you can see all these figures boldly. So let's come back to the fill and line here. Click solid fill. Don't forget that you highlighted this first. You click the solid fill here. Okay, so if this has not given you a color that you want automatically, then you can come here, change the color to anything you want. If you change it to red, it's going to change to red. You see? Okay, but to leave it black, as that is what we have in a project we're working with. Now that I've shown you how to do the pie chart, the first pie chart is here, total revenue. Let's delete this product category. I guess the title is just total revenue. Okay, you have that. So the next thing is to do the total units sold. Now, don't forget what we do. You come to the sheet here, you double click, then you press it down. The control key, you press down, you move it to the right next to the sheet. Then let's change this name here. Let's rename it to be pie underscore. Let's put it unit sold unit. Okay. Now what to do here is come to here. Let's delete this. Let's bring out the pivot table field. And the next thing to do is return the total revenue here. Bring the unit sold down to values. So you have this. Of course, you're still working with product category. So you have this now. This is the total unit sold. We're going to write the title. Write the title total units sold. So we have the percentage also included in this pie chart. So what you do is just click that the figures and the pie chart. Come to label options here. Under label options, you click percentage as we did the other time, the separator. Make sure you click new line. Now let's try to format the text color so that it will become more obvious. So we just come to the text options here. You see the text outline here. Click the solid line here. Then you can change the color to what you want the color to be, and we're still working with black, and that's it. So we have our total unit sold done perfectly. Now that we have completed all the charts needed to construct a dynamic and interactive dashboard, we now bring all the charts together and produce our dashboard. So to do that, create another sheet. I'm going to move this to the first sheet here, and call this, I'll rename it dashboard. Okay. So what I'll do first is let me zoom in a little bit to give more visual outlook of the sheet. So the first thing to do is try to format the sheet. So here I'm going to reduce this row height first on the row, calling the first row. I'm going to, let me take this to 4. Okay, it reduces that. Then the first column, I'm going to also reduce the column size to, let me do 0.5. Yes, I think I like the space. So the essence of this is to try to make our dashboard to be nice and good looking. So you're going to see what the effect is going to be by the time we start bringing all the charts to this dashboard now. So yeah, we want a section for the title of the dashboard. How to do that is go to the insert tab. Yeah, you see shapes. Yeah, click shape. Then we insert that shape here. Just bring it down, depend on how broad you want it. But I think we're fine with 4. Holding the Alt key make this to automatically fix in to the end of each row or column as you desire. Okay, so let's move this to Y. Okay, let's move it to Z here. 4. Okay, that's what we have, and what we want to do is just to type into it online sales data. Let's centralize it. Let's increase the font to what we want. This is fine. That's the title of a dashboard. So we can also change the format. We can fill, shape fill. Let's also return color. So this is it. Hope you see that this is looking beautiful already. The next thing to do is to start bringing in all the charts to this dashboard sheet. Let's bring in first the timelines and the slicers. Let's cut it. You come to dashboard, paste it here, Ctrl V. Now that I've pasted the timeline and the slicers, you want to make sure that there is a space between the title and this. These are the formatting here. Don't forget the space for row that we are using. We reduce the row height to 4. Now that we have completed our dashboard, we have a few things to do more, maybe 2 or 3 to do more to ensure that we have a perfect dashboard, an interactive one. Let's look at a dashboard entirely first. We'll say that the black color here with sum of total revenue and sum of total units. So let's do that quickly. Let's come to format. Here we see shape fill. Come to shade fill. This is a shade that we'll be using. Okay, let's click that to do it out very fast. This is a shade we've been using. Say that we are having that do the same for that shade. The same. Yes, we'll say that we have the same shade for all the charts, the next thing to do is to make our dashboard interactive. And what to make this interactive are these three things. One, the timeline, and the two, slicers. So let's see if that works effectively. If we keep generally here, we see that this is really changing, but what of other charts? Did they change? No, they're not changing. Look at these two for payment. We click credit card. Yes, this is changing, but others are not changing too. If you go to the two slicers too, are not changing anything. So let's disable the timeline and slicer. So what we do is to make it interactive, click first the timeline, come to the timeline tab here. You see report connections here. Click the report connections. Make sure you select all the charts in this dashboard. Once all the charts are selected, then we are good to go. We have everything connected now. So if you click June, for example, you see that changing every other chart now. So that is perfect there. Let's disable this. Okay, let's click the first slicer payment method here. As we click that, we come to slicer tab here. Click slicer tab, report connections to, then click everything to connect the connection to that payment slicer. You see that this is the only one it was connected to initially. So now once we click all those, we can click credit card. You see what happens? They're changing, and they're changing now. Okay, also to the last one, region, to the same, report connections, click all this, enable all these to connect well with the charts. So perfect, we have our dashboard completely interactive. Okay, so let's again disable all these to go back to our initial charts. All these represent all the 240 data points that we've used to produce this all the charts here. Now let's make this ready for sharing. It is important to share this with either your team lead or your boss that asks you to work on this in your office, and you want to show, okay, I've come up with this interactive dashboard, and yes, you can go ahead for your presentation, boss. What to do next is make sure you remove all the grid lines. First, come to view, uncheck this. We also have to do some things to make it give a pro touch to this. You get to more here, click options. On the options, you come to advanced options. We want to uncheck some things here to remove some things. Of course, why that is also necessary is because whoever that is checking this or whoever you send this to, on the other hand, will not be able to see some things or change anything from the dashboard. So that is why it is important to do all this. Now we want to take away this uncheck show sheet tabs. We'll check that. Then we come down to say show row and column headers. We don't want that too. Show zero cells, show outline symbols. Okay, let's okay that first to see how that look. We have this perfectly, which is nice. This is what we need. Then you can hide all this by double clicking home tab. Now you have this dynamic, complete interactive dashboard for our project, which is ready for report. Thank you for your time so far. I appreciate you. Yes, it's a long video, but quite interesting. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, please comment below. See you in the next video.